Okay.
It's in order so that they give them time to join.
Is my audio back now? Okay. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Please, we are very sorry for that challenge we are having here. It is due to poor network in this area, but we have sorted it out. The class will be very smooth now, I'm very sure. So sorry, please. Now, if you can now hear me, if you are back online and you can hear me clearly, please comment yes. Comment yes or comment continue, please. Okay. All right, thank you. Let's just give others that are trying to join to have, okay, I can have quite a good number now. We are starting the class. We want to continue very shortly now. Thanks for your patience, please. All right, thank you. I can see the comments. So that's past question you are having with you is the exact structure the exam will be like. But remember that this is just a past question, but it's going to be the same structure for the exam questions. So section A, like I said, will have 15 sentences. Now, in 3 groups. That is, group 1 we have 5 sentences, group 2 we have 5 sentences, and group 3 we have 5 sentences. Now, and what you should expect in the section A is, number 1, types of sentences. Like you remember, we have 2 parameters for categorizing or classifying the English sentences. You are going to be asked to classify according to either functional parameter or structural parameter. In this question with us, it is functional parameter, which means for the other option, for those that are having the exam tomorrow, it could be functional or structural, and for those that are having the next day, it will be functional or structural. Just take note of which parameter we are asking you to use for the classification. So then the next one will be on either Concord tenses, and probably, now it could be, now like I said, Concord errors and tenses errors and types of sentences. So for section A, now let's start the past question. Let's start the treating of the past question straight. Section A, number 1, identify the following sentences according to their functional patterns. A lot of you should be able to identify these types of sentences. Number 1, what do you think I can do for you? What do you think I can do for you? What type of question is that? Or sorry, what type of sentence is that? That is definitely interrogative sentence. Interrogative sentence is any sentence that is used to ask question. Any sentence that is used to ask question, that is interrogative sentence. So the sentence number 1 there is used to ask a question, so it is interrogative sentence. Number 2, last month was Dr. Ojo's birthday. Last month was Dr. Ojo's birthday. That is declarative sentence. It is declarative because it is used to make an assertion, to make a declaration. So it is either called declarative sentence or assertive sentence. Some people are still complaining network. The network is good now, please. Maybe you check at your side. So that is sentence number 2. That's declarative sentence or assertive sentence. Then number 3, we have won the game. We have won the game. That is to show excitement. Now, any sentence that is used to show excitement or sudden reaction is known to be exclamative sentence. That is exclamative sentence. Now, how do you recognize that? You will see that it has an exclamation mark at the end of it. So it is called exclamative sentence. Get out of this place. That is the next question. That is imperative sentence. Any sentence that is used to give command is imperative sentence. Get out of this place. That is imperative. Now, number 5, I am proud to be a woman. That is also a declarative sentence. That is used to declare intention. That is used to make an assertion. It is either declarative sentence or assertive sentence. So that is it for section A. Don't forget, we have 6 types of sentences when we are using functional parameter. Number 1, we have declarative sentence, which is used to make assertion or declare intention. Then we have imperative sentence, which is used to give command or make someone do our wish. That is imperative, like we have here, get out of this place. Then we have interrogative sentence, which is used to ask question, either yes or no question, WH question, or a polar question. So it is called interrogative sentence. Then we also have obligative sentence, which is used to show compulsion. We use it to express compulsion. A situation that is compulsory for someone to carry out is we use that type of sentence to express it. That is obligative sentence. Now it is used to declare compulsion. So like, you must do that job today. That is obligative. We must see your supervisor immediately. We ought to know what is the root of the problem. That is obligative. Then we also have optative sentence. Optative is used to express a wish or desire. You see, if I have money, I'll buy a good car. That is showing desire. So I wish I have money to give you. That is a wish. So that is optative sentence. So all those types of sentences, according to function, you should try and understand it. They are just 6. Then question number 2 under section A. Identify the errors in the following sentences and make appropriate corrections. Now, in your own option, we are likely to give you sentences that contain errors, and we ask you to correct the errors. Now, in this case, sentence number 1, the chairman and guest speaker have sent the seminar paper to the organizer. I think I may need to write some things on the board here. Now, you see, you should try to learn how to detect errors, especially Concord. Errors of Concord. You should learn to identify them. For example, we have several rules of Concord. Don't forget, for the rules of Concord, we have 2 general rules, now which is the basis for any other rule of Concord. Now, the first rule, that is general rule, is if the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. If the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. That is rule number 1, the general rule of Concord. Then the second general rule, number 2, if the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural. That is subject-verb agreement. Subject-verb agreement. So, and guest speaker have sent. So it is referring to the same person. Now, that is rule number 1. The network is... Sorry, the network is bad now. It's back now. The network is back now. Okay. Now, the chairman and guest speaker refers to the same person. So you don't say have. Remember the rule of Concord number 1. If the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. The singular verb is has, and the plural verb is have. You should know the difference between has and have. Has is singular, have is plural. Had is the past tense of the two. But here we have singular subject. So the answer is has sent the seminar paper. Okay, I want to repeat that question. Sentence number 1, under identify the errors in the following sentences and make appropriate corrections. I said this is based on rules of Concord. We have general rules which are just 2. When the subject is when the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2, when the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural too. So in this case now, the chairman and guest speaker referring to the same person. If it is referring to different people, we will have it as the chairman and the guest speaker. That is different people. But for the same person, it is the chairman and guest speaker. So the second now does not have the article D. It means it is referring to the same person, which means it should be has sent, not have sent. That is for sentence number 1. So you just rewrite the sentence and say the chairman and guest speaker has sent the seminar paper. That is correct. That will give you 1 mark. Then number 2, sentence number 2, the principal as well as his teachers arrive tomorrow. Now, there is another rule of Concord that is a specific rule. Rule number 2. Rule number 2 is when the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. When the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. Now, like if we have sentence A as the chairman and the guest speaker, that is plural subject. Now it will be have. The verb now is plural verb. But if it is the chairman and guest speaker, the subject is singular, so the verb must be singular. So we have has as the singular verb there. So has sent the seminar paper to the organizers. So number 2, that is sentence B. The principal as well as his teachers arrive tomorrow. So this rule is a specific rule of Concord. In this rule, we call it accompaniment rule. Accompaniment rule. Now, somebody is going to perform an action, but other people will just accompany him in that mission. It is called accompaniment rule. So in accompaniment rule, we can have words like as well as, in collaboration with, in conjunction with, or we say together with. So all those words, they are accompaniment markers. We call them accompaniment marker. So if you see accompaniment marker in any sentence, now you should consider the subject. That is the first noun for the choice of the verb you are going to use. In this case now, the principal as well as his teachers arrive tomorrow. So the basic subject in this sentence is the principal. Now, other noun there, which is his teachers. The teachers are only accompanying him. Like if you say John together with Mary has gone to the bank. I said has gone to the bank because it is only John that is the major subject there. The other noun that carries as well as or together with is only accompaniment. So any accompaniment that is used with a singular subject, now we make the verb to be singular verb. So in this case now, we have no business with his teachers. Now, one way you can deal with this is to move the accompaniment to the end of the sentence. So if you have the sentence as the principal arrives tomorrow as well as his teachers. The principal arrives tomorrow as well as his teachers. So it means that the subject is a singular subject, not plural subject. So when you see accompaniment marker like as well as, together with, in conjunction with, in collaboration with, they are only accompaniments. You don't consider them. You consider only the subject, that is the first noun. Now, in this case now, the principal is our major concern. The principal arrives tomorrow. The principal arrives tomorrow. That is the answer. So the verb you are going to use there is arrives. Now, and you should take note that in the sentences you are going to correct, majorly you are only going to correct the verbs, because it is the verbs that must agree with the subject. So look at the verb. If the verb does not agree with the subject, then change it to the appropriate verb that will agree with the subject. So the principal as well as his teacher arrive tomorrow. Arrive does not agree with the principal because it's a singular subject. So change it to arrives and the sentence will be correct. So you have your full mark. Then number C. Please, that rule is called accompaniment rule. Take note of it. Accompaniment markers are markers like as well as, together with, in collaboration with. When you see them in sentences, it means the subject, if it is singular, you should consider it to have singular verb. So number 4, sentence D. We had been friends for a long time. We had been friends for a long time. Now the verb had in that sentence is wrong, because there is nothing that's happened that will be another action in this sentence. When you don't have two actions where one precedes the other, you don't need to use had. So in this sentence now, it is we have been friends for a long time. Now if we have an additional information to the sentence, that is, oh, all right, I'm very sorry. Let's go back to C. Let's go back to C. I will come back to explain D again. I'm very sorry. So C, sentence C is a list of books were found on the table. A list of books were found on the table. Now we put books there, which is a plural now, to confuse you, to make you think that it is a plural subject. Now in this case, it is not a plural subject. Now we have a lot of things in a whole. A lot of things in a whole. So we are considering that whole. So a list, just one, a list of books. We have only one thing, just one list which contains names of books. So it is just a singular subject, not plural. So it is not where, it is supposed to be was. So a list of books was found on the table. A list of books was found on the table. Now these same rules affect sentences that have a pair of in the structure. So if you say a pair of something should take a singular verb, because we say a pair. So a pair of a pair of shoe is a singular subject, so it will take a singular verb. A pair of glasses. Now some people make a lot of mistake when they use a pair of. Now if you say a pair of glasses, okay, glasses is sounding like plural, but a pair has made it to be singular verb. So a pair of glasses was found on the table. A list of books was found on the table. A pair of scissors was found on the table. A pair of will take a singular subject. Now can we now go to sentence D? So the answer to that one is was. A list of books was found on the table. Now let me say something there. Now you cannot say where is my glasses. It is wrong to say where is my glasses. You can only say where is my pair of glasses, or you say where are my glasses. Now you have two glasses now in a frame, so it has become a pair. So if you don't want to use a pair and you want to remove a pair and you want to say glasses, it should be where are my glasses. You can also say I want to wear them now. Where are your glasses? Go and wear them. Instead of where is your glasses? Go and wear it. No, it is wrong. If you want to see them as singular, then you say a pair of. Where is your pair of glasses? Go and wear it. Where is your pair of glasses? Go and wear it. Or where are your glasses? Go and wear them. Where is your pair of shoes? Go and wear it. Or where are your shoes? Go and wear them. So do you understand now? So when something is in a pair, you refer to it as a singular. But when you refer to them as separate things, then they become plural. So then the next sentence is sentence D. We had been friends for a long time. Like I earlier said, it should be we have been friends for a long time. Let me explain that to you. Now, we had been friends for a long time before that thing happened. That is correct. We had been friends for a long time before that thing happened. So we have two verbs there. Had been, then happened. So two things, two expressions now, two actions now. You had been friends, then another thing happened. Okay. We had been friends for a long time before she intruded. We had been friends for a long time before she intruded. That is correct. But there is no any other action that is expressed in that sentence. So it cannot be we had been friends for a long time. It should be we have been friends for a long time. Now, the only case where you can use had is when you are expressing two actions and one preceded the other. For example, they have started the match. They have started the match. When did they start the match? They had started the match before we came to the stadium. So you are already watching the match and somebody just gave you a call to ask about the match. Then you can tell the person they have started the match. That is, they have. But if he says when did they start, you can say they had started before we came to the stadium. They had. It is wrong. It is then wrong to say they have started before we came to. No, that is wrong. Two actions now are expressed, but one came before the other. So it should be they had started before we came to the stadium. In this case now, no other action is expressed. So it should be we have been friends for a long time. So the answer is have. That is, have been friends for a long time. Number E, sentence E. One of them came regularly. One of them came regularly. Okay, in this case, it is either you leave that sentence like that, because it is also correct to say one of them came regularly if you are referring to that action in the past. But if you want to tell us in a simple present tense, that is what happens regularly, what happens on daily basis or at a regular interval, so you can now express it as one of them comes regularly. One of them comes regularly. In this case, now it is a specific rule of Concord too, that when you use one of, now this is very common with most students when they want to express a particular idea or thought that involves one of a group of people. They say one of my friend, which is very wrong. It is not one of my friend. It is one of my friends. One of my friends. You cannot say one of my lecturer. It is not one of my lecturer. It is one of my lecturers. One of my friends. One of my players. Now, if you say one of my lecturers, then you now go back to the subject, which is just one of those people comes regularly. One of them comes regularly. One of my lecturers is not one of my lecturers are. Is one of my lecturers is a banker. One of my lecturers is a banker. So when you use one of, now the verb that will follow should be a singular verb. One of them comes here regularly. That is it. Now that is for rules of Concord. Now if we are able to treat the second past question, I will tell you more about rules of Concord. But those are the major rules of Concord. Don't forget your accompaniment rule, which means when you have accompaniment markers, like we have in sentence B, as well as together with, in conjunction with, they are all accompaniments. So the noun that follows, if it is singular noun, then it is going to take singular verb. Try and understand that. So we are done with errors of Concord. We are going to correct errors in the exam. But the structure will be to test you on specific rules of Concord, like double subject Concord, then like a positive, now in a position, like we have in number 1, which is the chairman and guest speaker. So if we have 2 nouns, but the 2 nouns are referring to the same person, it is called a positive Concord, that is using now in a position. The chairman is also the guest speaker, and that is the rule. Then number 3, sentence group number 3, identify the tenses of the verbs underlined in these following expressions. Okay, in this case, we are going to test you on tenses. We have only 3 types of tenses in the English language. If any textbook or material is telling you we have several types of tenses: past tense, present tense, past continuous, past participle, or all those ones are not tenses. Now, the only 3 tenses we have in English language are the present tense, past tense, and the future tense. Those are the 3 tenses. Now, when you now talk about the aspect of the tense, you can now say it is continuous, it is participle, or it is perfect. So we have perfect tense as what is it? As part of what we call aspect of the tense. So perfect is the aspect of the tense, continuous is the aspect of the tense. That is, at that time you are referring to it, what is the status of that action? So is it progressive, which is continuous, or is it completed, which is perfect? So in that case, we have present perfect, past perfect, present continuous, past continuous. So whenever I say continuous or perfect, it means the aspect of the tense. It is only 3 tenses: present, then you add aspect to it, present continuous, present perfect, or past, then you add aspect to it, past perfect, past continuous. So for these sentences now, sentence A, Toby had done the work before they arrived. Toby had done the work before they arrived. Now, in this case, had done is a past perfect tense. Remember I told you the other time that has singular, we use it for perfect tense, then have plural. But when you never use had, it is the past form of the 2 verbs, which are has and have. But in this past form now, the action is completed, so it is perfect in the past. So it is past perfect tense, had done. So whenever you hear something like had done, had gone, had completed, had worked, so it is past perfect. So if we say has gone, that is present perfect, or have gone, that is present perfect. So had gone is past perfect. So sentence B, Dennis had eaten his food. That is also a past perfect tense. Past perfect tense. If it is present perfect, it is going to be Dennis has eaten his food. Okay, that is past perfect also. So I have been working since. Have been working. You will see progressive in that action. The aspect of this verb is progressive, that is continuous. So we say,
What if the question is two of my lecturers? Can we use the verb case?
okay, if you have a sentence, somebody is asking a question here that what if you have a case of 2 of my lecturers? In that case, you have plural subject already. 2 of my lecturers have traveled to the UK. 2 of my lecturers have traveled to the UK. You have said 2 already, not 1. Remember, in that rule, I said if it is 1 of my. Now, for example, if you say one of the women who sells gold in that complex. Now, that sentence is wrong, because as one of the women, there are some women in that complex who sell gold, but one of them who also sells gold. Now, you are going to consider 1 in the second verb. So in that question you have asked now, if you say two of my lecturers, then the verb will be plural verb. It's going to be have. Please, I believe you understand that. Now the next one, where are we? So I have been working since. So that action is not completed yet. It is still in progress. So that is present perfect continuous. Now it is perfect because we have the verb have. Whenever you see have or has in a sentence, the action is perfect. Now it is perfect, but the expression is showing that it is progressive as at the time the person is referring to in this sentence. I have been working since, present perfect continuous tense. So it is participle, and some people will call it participle, present participle tense. Okay, so number D, that's sentence D. Eve gave Adam an apple in the garden. That is simple past tense. Eve gave. So the verb gave is underlined. That is simple past. That is simple past tense. Now, broke, told, danced. So that is simple past. When you say goes, tells, gives, that is simple present. All right. So the next one, beat him. Actually, that is an imperative sentence, but it is in the simple present form. This imperative sentence is in the simple present form. Simple present. So beat him is simple present tense. Simple present tense. So we have tenses in that regard. Now, any question on section A because we are moving to the aspect of logic now. Another lecturer is going to take the aspect of logic. Now, but let me attend to any question you have. Okay, I can see that some of you are trying to supply the answers to the question. Now, if any question, please. Okay, there is a suggestion that we leave the logic for the lecturer in charge. We continue with section C and section D. Let's quickly go to section C and section D. Now, I'm going to tell you what we expect you to do when we give you this kind of questions in section C. Now, actually, you are going to write an essay, but that should not give you a problem. It is not a big problem at all to write an essay. Just know how to go about it. I will just give you some basic requirements on how to write an essay. So section C is essay writing. We are going to give you 3 different topics. You are going to choose one of the topics and you are going to write a very good essay on it. Your essay is going to carry 15 marks. And like I've told you, marker. I'm very sorry. I need to put some things on the board for you. Please check this instruction I'm going to put on the board. Please, sir. Now, if you can see the board, this is the yardstick we are going to use to mark your essay. That is, these are the things we are going to consider in writing your essay. Now, but what I will tell you about essay is that you have to be creative. When we give you essay to write, the topic we are going to give you, you are going to create what idea you have to put in the essay. It is your own creation. It is not necessarily what is happening, what you can create yourself. So the yardstick will have these 4 parameters. The first, we call it coema. Coema. Now, the C in the yardstick is the content. The content. The O is organization. And the E is expression. And the M is mechanical accuracy. Now, I will explain the 4. For content, we want to see if your essay contains what we actually ask you to do. If the content of your essay is in line with what we ask you to do, if you have not deviated from what we ask you to do, then that thing we ask you to do, did you give us enough information? That is content. Does your content give us what we require from you? So that is content. And the content is going to give you 4 marks. The content is going to give you 4 marks. The organization. Organization means how well you are able to organize your ideas in your essay. Let me tell you something about this. Whenever you are giving essay, make sure at the back of your question paper, write the ideas you are trying to express in the essay. For example, if they ask you to write causes of student failure in tertiary institutions, causes of student failure in tertiary institution. Now, you quickly think about those things that can cause failure. Then you're able to write them. Maybe peer influence, absence from class, peer pressure. Maybe you have 4 different ideas. Those 4 ideas, you are going to express them in 4 different paragraphs. That means 1 paragraph for 1 idea. It means your essay already has 4 paragraphs. But in any essay, there must be introductory paragraph. That is, you must introduce the essay. And you must conclude the essay. If you have introductory paragraph and concluding paragraph, you already have another 2 paragraphs, which means your essay will have 6 paragraphs. So it is not difficult at all to form ideas and to write a very good essay if you know how to organize them very well. So your organization will mean that you have a very good introduction, you have a very good conclusion, and the body of your essay also is very good. That is, those ideas you express in the other paragraphs that we call developmental paragraphs. If they are very good ideas, you are going to have a very good essay to write. So what you have to do is quickly write the ideas, the number of ideas you want to write. That will give you a clue of how many paragraphs your essay will have. So if you already have 4 ideas, it means your essay will have 6 paragraphs. If you have 5 ideas, it means your essay will have 7 paragraphs. So if you can have essay of 6 paragraphs, you are good to go. Just make sure you express each idea completely. Don't forget quality of a good paragraph. Accuracy should be there. Completeness should be there. Coherence should be there. So make sure you follow those qualities when you are developing your paragraph. So if you are able to organize your essay very well, then you are good to go. Then organization will give you 3 marks. Then expression. Expression is where we mark your grammar. All those I went to saw my supervisor. All those ones will reduce your mark. Grammatical errors, that is what we mark in expression. And anywhere you commit error, we are going to give you a ring. If you commit an error will take a ring, and any ring is minus half. And if you have a very good essay and you have a lot of rings, when we calculate the ring, the number of rings you have, it will bring down your mark. So make sure you have good expression, that is good grammar when you are writing. It is not compulsory you use big English, but simple and correct expressions will give you good mark. And in this case now, this will give you 5 marks. And for mechanical accuracy, we are going to mark your capitalization and your punctuation marks. Now, if you are supposed to write if you are writing a proper noun must begin with a capital letter. If you begin a proper noun with small letter, we give you a ring. For example, you want to write Mary, and this is your Mary. This is a ring, because this is a proper noun. And don't forget, whenever you are mentioning things like objects that have specific names, it is also a proper noun. For example, if you mention noodles, noodles is a general name. You can begin that one with small letter. But when you mention Indomie, that is a specific name. It should start with capital letter. That is a proper noun. Those are little errors you commit, because some of you will write it as small letter I, which is very wrong. Now, it is a proper noun because it is a specific name given to a specific type of noodles. So nouns like Pepsi should begin with capital letter. But when you have soft drinks, that is small letter, general names. But specific names of things you start with. So all those things are what we mark in mechanical accuracy. So we give you a ring wherever you have small letter instead of capital letter. Then if you are supposed to put a comma somewhere, no comma, we help you to put it, but with a ring or full stop. Or you ask a question without question mark, it is mechanical accuracy. We mark all those ones. And that's one. Mechanical accuracy is 3 marks. 3 marks. So if you count it all together, you have 10 marks. Sorry, 15 marks altogether. So your essay is going to give you 15 marks using these parameters. So in a case where you are going to choose a topic, make sure you choose a very good topic that you think you have an idea or you have several ideas to express there, and make sure you write out your idea so that you will know the number of paragraphs you are going to have. If you don't write down your ideas, in the process of writing the essay, you may forget some of the ideas. But if you write them down at the back of your question paper, then you can refer to them. Each time you finish with a paragraph, you know which paragraph is the next one. So this is how to go about your essay. So now, for the three essay questions we are going to give you. So there are 3 topics here. Now, let's use these ones as examples. The question number 6, the devastating effect of corruption on Nigeria's economy. Now, the topic is simply for you to identify what effects corruption has had on Nigeria's economy. What effects? Now, you can think about 3 or 4 or 5 effects that it has had on Nigeria's economy and write them down. In that, for example, you have 3 effects or 5 effects. You can have any number of effects, but make sure you don't have too much ideas to express, because you have limited time to spend writing the essay. You don't have the whole day to write the essay. So in this case now, write down your ideas. What are the effects? Just list them. You already have a good essay. But after listing the effects, start with introduction. Tell us what you know about corruption and how it has affected Nigeria. So start your essay with something like, corruption has eaten so deep into the economy of Nigeria in so many ways, and this has caused a lot of. So just begin it with some introductory expressions that will give us clue about what the essay is going to be about. So that is what we call introduction. Tell us what we are expecting to see in that essay. That's how to write your introduction. Now, after that, start your essay from the first idea to the last idea. And don't forget to conclude it. The conclusion is the summary of your position as regards the topic. The summary of your position. What is the position? What do you want to emphasize in that essay? That is what we call summary. Your essay must have that's what we call conclusion. It must have a conclusion. Then question 7, factors responsible for the failing standard. All right, factors responsible for the falling standard of education in Nigeria. So somebody is asking a question. What is the question?
I standing alone should be in capital letters. Is it valid?
Okay, so that question, for that person that has the question about the pronoun I, don't worry, the pronoun I, whenever you use I, even not ordinarily in an essay, anywhere you want to use I is always in capital letter. It is the only pronoun in the English language that it does not necessarily have to start a sentence before it will be in capital letter. Even in the middle of a sentence, it is always in capital letter. So I is always in capital letter if it is referring to the first person singular pronoun, that is I, the first person singular pronoun in the subject position I, it is always in capital letter. So it is valid. That notion is valid. It is valid that you write it in capital letter. And for the person that asked question on how to start an essay, you start an essay with your introduction. Introduction means you telling us what we are going to see in the essay you are writing, what you should expect to see in there, what is it all about, what is this essay you are writing, what is it all about. Now it is the just like giving somebody a clue of what he or she is going to see in this place he or she is going. So essay is just like a market we have never been to before, and you are now telling us to go to that market. But when you get to that market, things that you will likely see in the market, you can give us a summary of it. Now, for example, this question now, the devastating effect of corruption in Nigeria or Nigeria economy. So tell us something about corruption in Nigeria. So now some people will begin with definition of term. Now they will tell us what corruption means and what effect it has had on Nigeria economy. Although you are going to tell us that it has a lot of effects, and you are going to discuss those effects in this essay. So you have already told us that we are going to know about those effects in your essay, and we expect to see them. So that is it. Introduction means you telling us what the essay is going to be all about. That's how to start an essay. Now, quickly, let's go to the literature aspect, which is section D. Read that question again.
Someone asked about comprehension. And how do we know our letter is up to 250?
All right. For the person that is asking about comprehension, how do we know our letter is up to 250? In this exam, you are not going to write any letter. You are only going to write essay. Then you are not going to read any comprehension passage. You are only going to write essay. So no comprehension passage at all. Section C is essay writing, just essay writing. Then how do you know if your essay is up to 250 words? Now I can tell you how to calculate that. Now when you begin your essay, you are going to start your essay before you calculate your number of words. Now start your essay, write the first paragraph. Now in the first paragraph, check the first 3 lines of your paragraph. The first 3 lines. The first line, that is line 1, how many words do you have there? Line 2, how many words do you have there? Line 3, how many words do you have there? Add the number of words you have in each line from line 1 to line 3. Add them together. For example, line 1 you have 8 words. Line 2 you have 7 words. Line 3 you have 8 words. Add 8 plus 7 plus 8 together, then divide it by 3. The answer it gives you is the average number of words you have in a line. So since you know the average number of words you have in a line, then the number of words they have you to write, 250 words. Write 250 words divided by that number. Let's assume the average number of words is 8. So 250 divided by 8, that is the number of lines your essay is going to have. That's the number of lines your essay is going to have. You should try to understand that. The first 3 lines, how many words are in them? Add them together, then divide by 3. That is the average number of words you are going to have in a line. Then divide 250 by your answer, which could be either 8 or 7 or 9. So whatever it gives you is the number of lines you are going to have. So if you have the time, you can count the number of lines ahead and put a mark in the last one, so that whenever you get to that place, you know you have already reached 250 words. That's how to calculate that. Okay. So let's quickly go to literature. Now, literature. You have a collection of poetry for this course, and this time around it is just one, unlike in the past when we have 2 options for the poetry collection. But here now we have only one poetry collection, which is Treasure Pots by Olufolake Jegede. Treasure Pots. Now, try as much as possible. I've told you, for those of you that have not gone through any class, any lecture on literature, how to go about it, what you have to do is read at least, I'm telling you now, at least 3 poems. Read them. Read them very well and make sure you understand the major message in the poem. What is the message all about? For example, in Treasure Pot, the poem titled Abigail. Abigail. Now look at the way Abigail is written by the poet. Now, it portrays something when you read through the poem. Now, the major lesson in that poem is the opinion, the notion some people have about a girl child in Africa. Now, in some culture, when a woman delivers, when a woman is delivered of a baby, that is when a woman gives birth to a baby, the first question people will ask is, a boy or a girl? Now, if they say it's a boy, they say, ah, that's good, the man has won. But when they say it's a girl, and oh, your wife has knocked you down. Now, because they have the notion that a male child is more important than a female child, that is why in some culture they will never send a girl child to school, because they will think it's a waste. What stands for their notion, I may not know, but that is what the poet is pointing at, that why should we discriminate between a girl child and a boy child? And when somebody gives birth to a baby, we will now ask, is it a boy or a girl? And you will see the look in the face of some people, like when they say it's a girl, and they begin to show some attitude like, why should it be a girl? In some cases, some men left their wives because the wife has been unable to give birth to a baby boy. Instead of a baby boy, it's always a baby girl. So they have that hatred towards a baby girl. That is why the poet has put that poem, those lines together in the poem, to express his own opinion about that attitude people are showing when they give birth to a girl child. What she is trying to say is that a child is not bigger than the other one. There is equality. It's either a male child or a girl child. It is all equal. So they are both good children. You give birth to a baby boy or a baby girl, they are all good children. So don't discriminate between a baby girl or a baby boy. That is what the poem is saying. So you already know the major lesson, the central idea that poet is trying to address in that poem. But one thing is that in any poem, there will be a set of themes that the poet will have projected. For example, in a poem, you can have theme of love. You can have theme of hatred. There could be something like theme of hatred in Abigail, because some people hate to hear a girl child being born. So that is theme of hatred, honestly. So we can have something like theme of primitive attitude. Now, it is highly primitive to say, to discriminate between one child and the other. So it is a local idea. Now, there could be, in any poem, let me tell you several themes you can see in a poem. You can see theme of hatred, theme of love, theme of oppression, theme of corruption, theme of a marriage. You can see theme of cultural advancements, theme of war, and several themes like that. So, but the central idea in any work of art is what we call theme. Like in the primary school, when they tell you a story, after the story they ask you what are the major lessons you have learned in it. So any idea, any central idea that you see in a work of art, that is the theme. So, but in a poem, you may have more than one theme. Just make sure when you are reading the poems, highlight some themes that you can see in the poem. It will help you in this exam. Themes. Then what is the poem all about? Then the question could also be like, how is that poem reflecting the society? Let's see some questions here. You have 2 questions. You are going to answer just one. From section D, 2 questions. You are going to answer just one. With copious exam, that is question number 9 now. I want to read question number 9. With copious reference to any 2 poems of your choice from the recommended poetry, in this case now Treasure Pod, discuss the subject matter and use of language. Now, in this case now, the subject matter means what actually is the poet trying to say with this poem. What is the subject matter? Now, in Abigail, the subject matter is attitude of Africans, some Africans, towards girl child. That is subject matter. And the attitude is always bad. Now, that is the subject matter. And the use of language. Now, when you read the poem, how do you see the language? Is it easy to understand? Is it straightforward? Is it simple? That's what we are asking you to do in use of language. That is the author's or the poet's choice of words. Now, those words he has used in projecting the ideas, are they difficult to understand? And so if it is simple, tell us the subject matter is this and that and that. But the use of language, the poet used words that are easy to understand. The expressions are straightforward and some other things like that. Tell us. But if it is difficult to understand, say it too, that it is difficult to understand. For example, you can refer to a particular expression that you found it difficult to understand the meaning of such idea or in a way. So that is for question number 9. Question number 10. We live in the world of imperfections, and it is the work of literary writers to perfect the imperfections in our societies. You see, all these expressions, just try to understand that literature captures society and projects it to people. Literature is a reflection of what is happening in the society. That is what it means. Is it true that literature reflects society? Use any 2 poems from Folakejegede Treasure Pod to express that literature captures a society. That is what it means by we live in the world of imperfection. So it is the work of literary artists to perfect the imperfection. So how has Treasure Pod used some poems in the collection to tell us about imperfection in society and how to perfect them? So that's it. Use it. I will still use Abigail. It is imperfection to say that we should not give much value to a girl child. It is imperfection. So, but this poet is trying to perfect that imperfection by saying we should not discriminate again. So that is what this question is saying. So the poet is actually reflecting what is happening to society. He is trying to correct some vices in the society. Some of those things that are bad in the society that we should try and correct. Imperfection means things that are not correct. How do we perfect means how do we correct them? That is the meaning of that question. Now, one thing I always emphasize is try and interpret your question. Understand what that question means. Now, whatever we ask you to do in this poem will not go beyond asking you to discover some themes in at least 2 poems that you have read in that collection. Just make sure, that's why I said read about 3 poems. Understand the themes. Then understand how those poems affect the society or reflect the society, or is trying to correct some vices in the society, or how is it reflecting what is happening in the society. There is no poem you read in that collection that will not tell you a specific thing as it is happening in the society. So that is what we are going to ask you to find out. What you have found out, write or express your own idea or feelings about it. What are the ways the poem has actually reflected the society? How has it projected happenings in the society? If there are any error in the society, how has it corrected it? That is it. And again, themes, language use, and what again? Those are the major things. Make sure you understand the themes, the major lessons you have learned from it, what is it projecting about the society, and how is it correcting errors in the society. This is all. All right. For people that are saying they don't understand the poem, it is not all the poems in that collection that you will not understand. Check through. There will be a poem that you will like. There will be a poem. Okay, I don't have the collection here. There will be a poem that we actually like. And thank you. If you like it, you are going to understand it. Now, one thing about poems is you don't read them like you read novel. They have a specific way of using language. It is not the same way they write storybook that they write poem. Now, it is each line that you give meaning to. And sometimes you have to read 2 lines that are following each other before you can understand what it means. A line may not give you an accurate meaning until you reach the following line. And that is called enjambment. That is, now, the meaning in a line extended to the next line to it. So you may have to read the 2 lines before you can understand something. So don't think you will read poem like you are reading novel. It is not done that way. So go back to those poems this night. Check for a very good title that attracts you. Then read it line by line to understand what the poet is trying to say. I've told you about Abigail now. It's a very interesting poem if you go to read it. You must like a title before you will say, okay, I want to understand what it is saying. Just check through. What title attracts you? Read that poem line by line to know what the poet is trying to say in the poem. It is not difficult to understand it. I want to tell you that the language of the poet throughout all the collection is very simple to understand. Very simple. It is not complicated at all. It is very simple to understand if you can read it line by line. So those are the areas where you have to pay attention to. And don't forget, your literature aspect is also 15 marks. You are going to answer only 1 question in this section. Now, section A, that is section 1, all questions. Okay, when you are answering question, whenever you want to make reference to a poem, tell us the title of the poem and what reference do you want to make from the poem. Then you can tell us. You cannot just say in Folake Jegede, she says, no, in which poem? Tell us the title of the poem you are using as your example. That's why we say in reference to any two poems. In reference to any two poems. Just mention any two poems. Tell us, in this specific poem, the poet is trying to correct the imperfection in the society. And the imperfection in the society is this imperfection. Now, the imperfection in the society is corruption. How is the poet trying to correct corruption? She says this, she says that, especially in a poem like this, so in this specific poem titled This and This. She says, then you quote what she says. Now, it is not compulsory that you quote it verbatim, exactly the way the poem put it. But you can just quote it that in that poem, something like this is what the poet is referring to, and so on and so forth. Just make sure you understand the poem. Those three things I have said, the themes. What themes? Theme of love, theme of hatred, theme of corruption, theme of oppression, theme of intermarriage, theme of marriage, theme of, and so on and so forth. Now, in any poem, then what aspect of the poem is reflecting what is happening in society? The poem is a reflection of what is happening in society, or the poem is a reflection of this particular abnormal situation in the society, and this is how the poet is trying to correct it. Very simple to do. Now, just make sure you give us something that will make us understand that you actually read the poems. That is all. Now, we'll go back to, if there is no question, please let me check if there is any question. We now go to with this video. Okay, after the lecture, we are going to repost the video to the channel. Now, the only thing you can do is to make sure you subscribe to the channel. Now, if you have subscribed to the channel, you will get notification once we repost the video. It's going to be reposted, don't worry. So we now go back to this section B. UI. So section B is logic. Okay.
Literature, the essay writing.
Okay.
If you are providing a solution to a problem,
Okay.
the
Okay.
solution being the conclusion.
Okay. Now, that question is very good. Now, we have seen a question here. That person asked if we are writing an essay that requires us to write problem and solution, with the solution being the conclusion. No. If the question is causes, effect, and solution, it means you are doing three different things. You want to tell us the causes of a particular problem, then the effect of it, that's another aspect. Then the solution, that's another aspect. It means you are touching three different aspects. But if the question is effect and solution, that means you are doing two things. You are going to list the effect, then you are going to list solution in the body, not in the conclusion. You can have three effects and only one solution. The solution is also part of your developmental paragraph, not in the conclusion. The conclusion is your stand, your position, what you want to emphasize in that essay. So if you have effect and solution, discuss effect, maybe three ideas in the effect, then only one or two ideas in the solution, then you go to your conclusion. Effect is not part of the conclusion. No. Thank you very much. We are now going to the aspect of logic. Don't forget, your logic will go through meaning of logic, relevance of logic. Those aspects are very important. Relevance of logic, then principles of logic, which we can also call laws of logic. Then you may be asked to explain some terms in logic: opinion, assumption, validity, argument, syllogism, inference, and so on. So there is a professional in the studio. You have seen him in the lecture series I sent to you. So please welcome Mr. Okewumi. to come and discuss logic aspect with us. Thank you very much.
All right, good evening and welcome to the logic session. We intend to just look at it together. Let me be sure you can hear me. Thank you very much. Just let me know if the sound is fine as we also proceed. Okay, so let me know. Let me see your comments. Can you hear me? Is the sound fine? Oh, good. Okay, the sound is fine. Okay, good. Okay, that's fine. So, good evening, scholars, and welcome to the logic session. We will be looking at these major aspects, and I need you to please pay attention, because if you do, you will be able to score about 15 marks already on the table, as they say, sure banker. All right, so we'll be looking at the meaning of logic before we look at the relevance of studying logic. And I think in many past questions, I've been saying these questions again and again. So it means whatever we do now, chances are excellent that you will surely see them come through in one way or the other. So if you have any question, please let me know as we begin. We're going to start with the meaning and the definition of logic. And what I'm going to do, because your exam is very close, I'm just going to give you the straightforward definition of what logic entails. So what is logic? Logic can simply be defined as the study of reasoning. All right? Logic can simply be defined as the study of reasoning, because the word logic is from the word logos. Logic is from the word logos, and logos means to reason, which is the mental activity of a man. You must be careful not to be defining logic as mere psychology. All right? Why psychology, neuroscience are talking about the activity of the brain. Logic in most times is talking about the mind. All right? So that is the meaning of logic. Logic is simply the study of reasoning. We can also define logic as the ability to differentiate between sound argument and unsound argument. Logic is also the differences between sound argument and unsound argument. These are the definition of logic. Now, many people can also define logic as ability to differentiate between sound reasoning and also unsound reasoning. It's all generally about the rational capacity of a person. So because of our time, I will just go to the relevance of studying logic. And please, tomorrow or anytime you want to do the exam, just list all these points and then write short notes on the relevancy. So it's going to just help you to attain and get good marks. Number one, why do we study logic? Number one, because it helps decision making. Number one, it helps decision making. Because when you reason things out, it is believed that you'll be able to come to a decision that is so sound and that is so beautiful and brilliant. So we are saying, number one reason for studying logic is that it enables you to make sound decision. Number two, it helps your analytical skill. You'll be able to analyze something. So people will not just tell you what, if somebody told you, okay, look at this example. Somebody can say, I went out now and I can tell rain has fallen. And you can be in the room and be saying, I'm not sure you are right. Why? There was no sound. And number two, the ground is wet does not imply that rain has fallen. It could be many other things. A tank somewhere could just burst on the street. Anything could happen. So, but if you don't have a refined mind, you are likely going to take such a thing as basic, reasoning and just decision. So we are saying that it helps you to analyze, have an analytic mind. You'll be able to know what to decide in matters. The other one is that logic enables you to differentiate between sound argument and unsound argument. When you see an argument, you'll be able to know this one. Now, when you see judges in courts, they are not witches. They are not. All they do is they look at the point that lawyer A is presenting and they look at the one lawyer B is presenting. So when they combine the two together, they will now say, wow, this is where this matter is going to. The fourth reason why we study logic is that it enables us to differentiate between sound argument and unsound argument, as well as valid argument and invalid argument. As you go on, you're going to see the different reasons or the different meanings of when we say an argument is sound or an argument is valid, or when we say an argument is not valid. There are many other examples, all right? But just know that it enables you to have a very clear analytic mind. It helps you to differentiate between sound arguments and unsound arguments. Also, it helps you to differentiate between valid arguments and invalid arguments. Number 5 I want to mention for you is that logic enables you to differentiate between or to detect error in reasoning, which is called fallacy. So logic enables you to differentiate between or to detect error that is committed in the process of reasoning. So that will be the question 1 in that one that was sent. Is the question sent? Okay. So that's the first one I'm going to mention. Now, the other part of it is saying, I want to see if there are questions.
What is saying logic is study of human reasoning. Is it study of human reasoning?
Yes. If you have any question, let me know. Okay. All right. So now let's go to the other part of it. We want to write some short notes on the following. Number 1 is opinion. Number 2 is assumption. The third one is validity. The fourth one is argument. Number 5 is syllogism. Number 6, inference. Number 7, principle of excluded middle. Now, I'm going to just explain all of these things briefly, one after the other. Just pay attention. If you pay attention, you will get everything so easily. Now, the first one, what is an opinion? Now, what I'm going to do for you is to, because I know logic is an aspect of this course, I'm just going to try to give you something very simplified that you can easily run with to the exam hall tomorrow. So, what is an opinion? Opinion can be defined as subjective belief. Let me know if you got that. Opinion can be defined as subjective belief. Opinion can be defined as subjective belief. For example, when I say President Tinubu is the best president Nigeria ever had, that is an opinion. Number one, it's a belief held by myself alone. You don't need to believe with me, and that's why it is called, oh, it's your opinion. When people say Cristiano Ronaldo is the best footballer, somebody can say, no, that's just your mere opinion. What you are saying is that statement is not a fact. All right, it's just somebody projecting their belief system. So opinion are belief. All right. Now, assumption. What are assumptions? Assumptions can be defined as mere propositions. Assumptions can be defined. Let me show. Is the network fine? All right. Okay. Let me be sure. Is the network fine? Can you still hear me, scholars? Let me know if you can. Are you fine? Okay. All right. So, assumptions are propositions. Assumptions are propositions that can either be true or false. Okay. So, assumptions are propositions that are either true or false. I'm going to give you an example. If I say it is going to rain tomorrow, I'm just assuming. And all you need to do to confirm the statement. Are we back?
We are not off yet.
That's stop. Okay. Good. Is it back now? If you can hear me, please let me know. Just few minutes to balance the sound. If you can hear me. Is it back?
Yes.
So please.
You can just take a step out.
Okay, I'm just going to. Now, can you hear me now? Can you see me? Can you hear me, scholars? Okay, can you hear me? Right. Right. So, were you able to get the opinion? Subjective belief. Okay. Can we go on, please? Let me know. Let me get your feedback. All right. So, number 2 is assumption. And I say assumptions can be defined as mere propositions. And what are propositions? Propositions are statements that can either be true or false. And I was given an example of a proposition, and I said, good. And I said a proposition can mean, or an assumption can be, rain will fall tomorrow. Somebody can even say, I want to assume that this exam will not be holding again in the morning. It's an assumption. And all we need to do is to wait till tomorrow morning to be sure if the exam is going to hold or not. So remember again, assumptions can be defined as mere propositions. To propose a statement, that is the meaning of assumption. There are many other examples. You can say, you can even assume that the next election of the Nigerian president, that I'm going to be the next president of Nigeria, it can also be the case. So assumptions can simply be defined as mere proposition. Let me be sure that one is also correct before we move on. The third one is called validity. All right, good. If you have any question, if you want me to repeat anyone, please let me know. I am just going to repeat so that you can understand. The next one is validity. Now, what is validity? Validity is a feature of an argument. Validity is a feature of an argument. And what does it mean? An argument is valid when the premises support the conclusion. An argument is valid when the premises support the conclusion. That is the meaning of validity. So we say an argument is valid. For example, I'm going to give an example when we get to the meaning of argument. So an argument is valid for those who are writing when the premises support the conclusion. That is the validity. And the other one is arguments. What is an argument? And this one is the major topic in logic. Arguments can be defined. Good. An argument can be defined. Oh, let me be sure the sound is fine. So we can be sure it's not from here.
It's from that particular person. You know, people have confirmed that
Okay. Let me. Can you hear me, please? Okay. That's fine. You are right. Ken, the Ade talk, that's it. Mere proposition. That's an assumption. You are correct. Now, opinion, for those who are saying we should define it again, opinion can be defined as subjective belief. Subjective means personal, individual belief. That is the meaning of opinion. Opinions are individual or personal belief. That's an opinion. All right. Okay, so thank you very much. Now let's move to the meaning of argument. Now, arguments can be defined as a set of proposition. This is proposition on the board. Can I write? Can I start? Okay. Let me write the meaning of proposition so you can get what I'm saying. This is the word proposition. Is it clear now? Now let me do something for you. Let me write something on the board. Hold on, let me write something on the board for you. With this, I'm going to explain. This will enable you to understand what we mean by an argument and also the meaning of validity. Now, an argument can be defined as a set of proposition made up of one part known as the premises and other part known as the conclusion. For example, this is an argument. There's a part we call premises in argument, and this is what it means. All men are mortal. Premise 2. Ade is a man. Then I want to conclude by saying, if all men are mortal, mortal means all men will die, and Ade is part of the men, necessarily Ade must die. So the conclusion here will now be, therefore, Ade is a mortal. Now, you might need to write down this example on the board because this is what we call an argument. This is what we call an argument, and is given a standard form. So I told you earlier, an argument is a set of proposition. This is proposition 1 and 2 and 3. However, these two parts are called premises. And what are premises? Premises are reasons given to support your claim, known as the conclusion. I'm going to explain that again for you to understand, because they can ask you to write 10 examples of an argument. An argument can be defined as a set of propositions made up of two parts. A part, this one is a part, is called the premises or reasons or basis for your conclusion, which is what you intend to say. This one on the board is called the standard argument form. Why is it standard? It has two premises and it has a conclusion. And what are we saying in this argument? What I just want to say is Ade will die one day. And you're asking, why are you saying that? So I'm going to give you my reasons. I will say number 1, because all men will die. And Ade is also a man. So if Ade is a man and all men will die, therefore Ade too must eventually die. So this one on the board is called an argument. Let me be sure if you got that one. If you want me to use another example, maybe I should just use one more example for you. And this thing will... can I... Okay. Let me use one more example for you of an argument. Premise. Let me use another example. More marker. Let me use another example for you. Something that is sharper. Just a moment. Okay. Premise 1. Good. I'm saying all lawyers are liars. This one you are saying is called a proposition. Alright? And it's premise 1. Premise 2. John is a lawyer. So this one is also a standard argument form because it has 2 premises and 1 conclusion. Now, what will be my conclusion? Can anybody guess the answer? If all, this all is talking about, we'll use the all means universal. And John is a particular. So if all lawyers are liars, and John is also a lawyer, therefore, John must also be a liar. If you agree that all lawyers will lie, and John is also part of the lawyers, so John too must lie. So John is a liar. So this is an argument. Now what I'm doing, because in exam they can tell you to write 5 examples of an argument. I might a little bit be going from the past questions in just 1 minute so that we can combine it together. Because they have not told you to do that here, but let's just do it so that we can understand it. Now look at it. This one here is, I told you earlier, validity that we have discussed. This argument on the board is valid. I'm going to need marker too. Just a moment. This argument is valid. The argument is valid and also is deductive. If you have any question, just let me know. I'm going to explain all these terms. Now, why is this argument valid? So, a valid argument, like we said earlier, is an argument where the premises support the conclusion. So, looking at this argument now, do you think that we can agree that John is a liar based on these premises? The answer is yes. Why is it a yes? We are saying that all lawyers will lie. And we are saying John is part of the lawyers. So if John is part of the lawyers, then John must also be a liar. So this argument is valid. It's also deductive. Why is it deductive? A deductive, because there are 2 types of argument. Let me say that again. There are 2 types of an argument. Number 1 is called deductive. Deductive. This one, anywhere in the world, in logic, there are only 2 types of an argument. Number 1 is called deductive argument. Number 2 is called just put N, then inductive argument. So a deductive argument is an argument where the premises support the conclusion. The same thing for valid arguments. Alright? Why inductive argument is an argument where the premises do not give you enough reason to believe the conclusion. I'm going to give an example. Let me say that again. Deductive argument is an argument where the premises support the conclusion. Why inductive argument? The premises do not support the conclusion. Now let me just give you one more no, because of time, let me give you one inductive argument. So we have defined opinion, assumption, validity, and argument. Now let me give you this example. Premise 1. Bolu is a polite and is tall. Premise 2. Bayo is a polite and he is tall. Conclusion: all polites are tall. Now, this on the board here, if I ask a question, do you think this argument is valid or invalid? I told us earlier that an argument is invalid when the premises do not support the conclusion. And look at the premises. And don't forget what I told us about the meaning of premises and the meaning of conclusion. Now, please note it. Premises can be 10. They can be 20. But conclusion can only be 1. Again, premises can be 10. I can continue again and again. But conclusion can only be 1. Now, look at these premises. I am saying I know of a person who is a poly student and also is very tall. I also have a friend known as Bayo, a poly student, and is also tall. I'm now saying because of that, it seems all poly students are tall. This argument here is invalid and also inductive. Why? If they tell you to state your reason, you will say your reason is because you can just put the reason simply by saying the premises do not support the conclusion. That is the reason. In some cases, they will tell you, is this argument valid or invalid? And they will tell you to also state your reason for such a claim. Alright, so we have used this example to define what is the meaning of an argument and also the two types of argument that we have. I have also been able to use this example to explain to you how to detect if an argument is valid or when an argument is not valid. Please don't make that mistake. Straightforward, an argument is either deductive or inductive, and an argument is either valid or invalid. All right. Thank you very much. Let me also see if you have other questions here. Let's move on. What is a syllogism? Now, look at the board. This is a syllogism. Now, a syllogism is a type of an argument. Please write it. I want you to get this one. This question is very common. A syllogism is a type of an argument made up of two premises and one conclusion. A syllogism is a type of an argument made up of two premises and one conclusion. That is what we call a syllogism. For the third time, a syllogism is a type of an argument made up of two premises and just a conclusion. So all the ones I have given us earlier, they are all syllogism. For example, now syllogism has nothing to do with validity or invalidity. For example, if I say all doctors are university graduates, Taiwo is a doctor, therefore Taiwo must be a university graduate. It is also called a syllogism. All right, so let's go to inference. Let me be sure the sound is still fine. What about farmer is better? No. Okay, somebody. All right. Can you hear me, please? Let me be sure the sound is still fine as we treat the last two questions. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. So, what is an inference? An inference can be defined as a way of arriving at the conclusion from the premises given. An inference is a way of arriving at the conclusion from the premises given. So when it simply means from the word infer. From what he has said, I can infer that A, B, C, D is the case. So inference is a process by which we arrive at the conclusion from the premises given. They are just basic English words. Just write them and put a good example and you will be fine. So inference means arriving at a conclusion from the premises given. Alright, so that will be all on that note. Finally is the principles or the principle of excluded middle. And what I'm going to do for us on that one is to probably write for us the 3 laws of logic in just 1 minute so that we can. But let me define excluded middle. Excluded middle is a principle of logic that states that a statement can either be true or false. A statement can either be true or false. That is the meaning of excluded middle. A statement is either true or false. If you say a statement is true, you can no longer say that same statement is false. So it means a statement is either true or false. Now there are other 2 principles of logic, because there are 3. There are all 3 principles. Number 1 is called the principle of identity. We have the principle of identity, we have the principle of excluded middle, and we have the principle of non-contradiction. Identity means if a statement is true, then it is true. Law of identity. If a statement is true, okay. Somebody said we should define premises again. Premises can be defined as the reasons, basis, foundation given to establish or support a claim. Premises are the basis, the reasons, the foundations given to establish a claim. All right, so let's return to the principles of logic. Number 1 is principle of identity, which states that if a statement is true, then it is true. Principle of non-contradiction is the second one, which states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. Non-contradiction states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. And the last one, which is the question here, is the principle of excluded middle, which states that a statement is either true or false. That will be all for now on logic. Let me know if you have any question. I think it's high time we closed. So any question please on logic, anyone, in just 1 or 2 minutes before we call it a night. The second principle, okay, hold on, let me just get the question, we'll just pick them together. The second principle of logic, number 1, okay, so all right. The first one is identity. We state that a statement is either true or false. That's identity. A statement is either true or false. Non-contradiction states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. And the principle of excluded middle states that a statement is either true or false. Alright, so those are the 3 principles. The principle of identity states that A statement, if a statement is true, then it is true. Identity states that if a statement is true, then it is true. All right. Excluded middle states that a statement is either true or false. Why non-contradiction states that a statement cannot be true and false at the same time. All right. Law of excluded middle means, yes, that's it. Law of excluded middle, a statement is either true or false. Identity, if true, then true. Thank you very much. All right, understood, sir. Thank you very much. I think I would log out now. If there's any other question, please, what I can suggest you do for the exam is to pick up the test, any test around you can see, and try to read more on arguments. Everything in logic, especially for 301, is centered on argument. Validity, inference, syllogism, deduction, induction, they are all essentially connected to argument and the principles of logic. So if you know the meaning of logic, if you know the relevance of studying logic, you know the three principles of logic and argument, I can tell you, you are good to go. All right, please come again on premises. Okay. Premises are reasons given to establish or support a claim. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to be off your faces now so that our lecturer can return to close with us. Thank you so much. If you have any question, please send it to the comments so that we can answer it anytime we are able to do that. Thank you so much. I wish you
All right, I think everybody can hear me again. Oh, I do have monitor here.
Yes, somebody says it's principle the same thing as the laws of logic. Yes.
Okay, for that question, is principle the same thing as laws of logic? Yes, it's either we say principles of logic or laws of logic or laws of thought. Any of the three, principles of logic, laws of logic or laws of thought. It means, they all mean the same thing. Now, what I will do now, please, the second past question I gave to you, that is 2022-23. I will just give you the answers to the questions so you can go through them again. I will just give you the answers to the question because I already gave you the... Can we display it? Okay. Okay, son. That is 2022-23. Please check. I will begin from the section A, sentence. I will just give you the answers. I may not be able to explain most of them again. Now, spot the errors in each of the following sentences and correct them. Now, which means you must understand some of these rules of Concord. Now, you see that the questions have the same structure. 2022-23 and 2024-25, they have the same structure. And that is the same structure that you will see in this exam too. We are not changing the structure, but it is not going to be the same questions. Now, number one, spot the errors in each of the following sentences and correct them. A, one of the boys are not from Ibadan. I have told you about the rules of Concord that uses one of the. So one of the boys is not from Ibadan. The answer is not from Ibadan. Did you get that one? One of the boys is not from Ibadan. Number two, I will come if I can be able to make it. Now, this rule, what is wrong here is can be able. There is nothing like can be able in the English grammar. If this is the answer, I will come if okay, the answer is I will come if I can make it, not if I can be able to make it. Can also mean be able. Can also mean be able. So you cannot repeat the same meaning twice. So I will come if I can make it, not I will come if I can be able to make it. So you remove be able. Be able means the same thing as can. So the answer is I will come if I can make it. Number C, I intend to barb my hair tomorrow. I intend to barb my hair tomorrow. It's either you say I want to barb my hair tomorrow or I intend barbing my hair tomorrow. I intend barbing my hair tomorrow. So D, I ate my breakfast in a hurry and then leave for school. The error there is the second verb. You ate, then you left, not leave. I ate my breakfast in a hurry and then left for school. So there are two clauses there. The first one has simple past tense, then the second one should also have simple past tense, which is left. Then the sentence E, he reversed back into the road only to hit the pole. He reversed back into the road only to hit the pole. To reverse means having movement backward. So you don't need to say back. The answer is he reversed into the road only to hit the pole. So remove back. You cannot say reverse back. It is only reverse. Reverse has already given the direction to the back. So there's nothing like reverse back. Did you get that right? It is not reverse back. It is okay. He reversed into the road only to hit the pole. So question number two. Identify the types of the following sentences according to their structure. Can you see now? The first one is according to function, but here we have according to structure. So you should be prepared to answer questions on sentences structure or functional parameter. So in this case now it is structural parameter. Number F, that's 2F. The man proposed to the lady, paid her bride price, married her legally, but divorced her 2 years later. Now, look at that sentence. It has how many main clauses? Now, just take note of the main clauses. Once you know that it has a specific number of main clauses, then you can determine 2 main clauses without a subordinate clause is for compound sentence. But now we have the man proposed to the lady, that is a main clause. Paid her bride price, that is another main clause. 2, marry her legally, that is another main clause, making 3 main clauses. But divorce her 2 years later, that is another main clause. That means it is a multiple sentence. There is no subordinate clause there at all. But all of them, we have 4 main clauses, which means it is a multiple sentence. A multiple sentence is any sentence that has more than 2 main clauses without a subordinate clause in its structure. So that means this is a multiple sentence. Don't forget, compound sentence has 2 main clauses, no subordinate clause. Multiple sentence must have more than 2 main clauses. So in its structure, without any subordinate clause, it is a multiple sentence. Now, G, she gave her the money in a rude manner. It is just a simple sentence. Only one main clause is there, no subordinate clause. She gave her the money in a rude manner. It is main clause. Sorry, it is a simple sentence, just one main clause. Then the H question. She discussed the matter with her while she was on transit. While she was on transit. That is a complex sentence. The first sentence there is she discussed the matter with her. That is the main clause. But the other clause there is a subordinate clause while she was on transit. So it is a complex sentence. It's a complex sentence. A complex sentence has only one main clause and at least one subordinate clause. Now, the next one. He shall obey him on the condition that he respects me. All right, I shall obey him on the condition that he respects me. Now, what is that? What is that? Can anybody give any answer there? How many main clauses do we have there? How many subordinate clauses? Now, we have only one main clause. The other clause there is an adverbial clause, which is a subordinate clause, on the condition that he respects me. So we have another complex sentence, one main clause and one subordinate clause. Now, the last one, the woman was terribly hurt by her daughter's conduct. The woman was terribly hurt by her daughter's conduct. Now, we have only one main clause. If you notice it, there is no subordinate clause at all. Now, the only thing you have there is a phrase. The woman was hurt. That's the main clause. The other part of the sentence is additional information to the verb was. Now, by her daughter's conduct. So it's just one main clause, and we have it as a simple sentence. So the last question, the last sentence there is a simple sentence. And the last part, analyze the following sentences into the SPCA model. Oh, SPCA is a system of structure, sentence structure analysis. And S there stands for subject, P stands for predicator, C stands for complement, and A stands for adjunct. In a sentence, there must be a subject. Then there must be a verb. The verb there is the predicator. Predicator means verb. Then complement C, adjunct A. So the first sentence, the woman came prepared. The woman came prepared. The woman is the subject of the sentence, which is S. Came, predicator. Prepared is an adjunct. That is adverb of manner. How did she come? She came prepared. So prepared there is an adjunct. So it is SPA. The summary is SPA. Then sometimes the madman acts intelligently. Sometimes the madman acts intelligently. So this sentence started with an adjunct. That is an adverb there. Sometimes adjunct, the madman, the subject of the sentence, acts, predicator, intelligently. That is how, another adjunct. So it is adjunct, that is A, S, P, A. So sometimes is adjunct, the madman is subject, act is predicator, intelligently is an adjunct. So then the next question, the woman is a lawyer. The woman is a lawyer. The woman is the subject, that is S. Is predicator, a lawyer, complement. That is SPC. SPC. The next one, H. On the way to the hospital, the man died. On the way to the hospital is additional information to the main clause there. On the way to the hospital is adjunct. The man, subject, died, predicator. So we have ASP. ASP. Adjunct, subject, predicator. The last one, her generator was stolen by the thieves. A generator was stolen by the thief. A generator is the subject. S was stolen, predicator, by the thief. Now the by phrase is actually a complement, because in the active form, the sentence will mean the thieves stole a generator. The thieves in the active form will be the subject. But in this case now the object has become the subject. So a generator subject, that is S, was stolen, predicator, and by the thief, complement. All right. Now let's see. I will leave the aspect of logic. I will go to the next one, the essay. The essay. Number one. Here only 2 topics were given. Topic number 1, tertiary education in Nigeria, challenges and prospects. The 2023 presidential election in Nigeria, masses expectations. Now, this type of essay, you just have to create your ideas. Tertiary education in Nigeria, challenges, and the question is actually, what are the challenges and prospects of tertiary education in Nigeria? Just think about them. What are the challenges? You can have 3 or 4 ideas, like lack of infrastructure, lack of good teachers or lecturers, good lecturers in tertiary institutions, then government policy, which are not good for educational purposes, and some other things like that. You have several ideas that you can express in this. Just write them out and begin to develop them. Don't forget your introduction and your conclusion. Then you have a better essay. So let me go to the literature aspect. Using at least 2 poems from Charles Akinchete, Dance of a Savage Kingdom, or Why Wayode means Prayer of a Mother. Now that session, those are the 2 poetry books they use. In your own case now, it is Treasure Pod. So using at least 2 poems from Treasure Pod, discuss the social relevance of the poems. So in Treasure Pod, there are some poems there that talked about social relevance. Now, in the society, what aspect of the social life of the society is any of those poems trying to explore? That is what it means. Then the second one, what they ask you to do there, discuss the relationship between theme and setting in the literary work. Now, when we ask you questions about themes, we are asking you the central ideas, those major areas where the poet is pointing to in the society, the central ideas. I've told you several things that could amount to themes in a literary work, like theme of joy, theme of sadness, theme of hatred, theme of love, theme of oppression, theme of... Look at those themes. What are the major ideas, the central ideas the poet is trying to project in the poem? So I mentioned them. So in this also poem, we have the following themes. Then you begin to take the themes one after the other, that what it means, how he or she projects the theme in that poem. That is what we want you to do in those ones. Which means, can you see now that from the other past question we have discussed, we saw themes there. We saw relevance to the society. We saw how it has affected to the society by trying to correct some vices or abnormalities in the society. So those are the areas. What is this poem telling us about the society? What are the themes that we can point out in the poem? Then how does it relate to what is happening in the society? That is what we want you to take note of in each of the poems. Read them. Just about 2 or 3 poems that you know you can explain better. It will work that way. Let me see if there is any question. I will answer only 2 questions so we close the class. For those of you that are having paper early in the morning, you will be able to go and sleep. Any question? Okay. All right. Now, if you have people that missed this class, we are going to repost this lecture series in the channel, that channel again. So you can ask them to go back to the channel and they will see it there. Any moment from now, they will see it there. It is still on that channel. In the absence of no question, I wish you all the best in this exam, and I believe the result will be so impressive. I want you to make me proud. I want you to make me know that this is not a waste of time. So please do it well and come out in flying color. Good night. Thank you so much.